It's not that I'm that smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. Albert Einstein. I love the wisdom of the past. I love what the geniuses, the artists, the scientists, the business magnates, what they tell us about their experience and what they learned. And I'm telling you, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes, that is all we ask. If you will just stick with this, as Einstein did, you will conquer. You can do this. I'm your biggest fan. Let's jump into these charts. Everything up for the day except gold. Let's jump into the S&P 500. Man, this is a market that just will not stop. Look at where we jumped in back here. Even if you didn't trust after the little fake out previously here, but we did well on that prior. Then it tried to go up and then died on us and down. But when it started to move up again, even if you waited till sometime in this second week, even with the high, you can see the bottoming here in the high volume and then the high volume on the turnaround doji. Even if you didn't jump in that week, you got in the next week. It wasn't, too much higher. And look at what it has done. It's just continued to crank, and it keeps cranking. When's it going to end? I don't know. I think it's going to be bloody when it does, because what goes up comes down. But we're above on the 2-day. We're above the weekly trend line, above on the half-day. You can see where things are up in the morning, a little further up in the afternoon, up 0.46%. About double that for the NASDAQ 100. Started off last week was a weak week. And then this week, bouncing up to a higher high. We saw those 4 days of down movement, but didn't pierce the weekly trend line on that 2-day chart. We saw where things bumped down to it on the half day, but then bumped off of it and up 0.80%. So again, another beautiful move, just making the bank in your practice trade. What about 20-year bonds? They had a stellar week last week, really high volume, and the last week. This week, we haven't hit the high of last week yet, but we are up for the day, 0.30%. You can see the prior to 2-day candles. That would have been Tuesday, Wednesday, the 5th and 6th, and Thursday, Friday, the 7th and 8th. Then this latest one, the Monday, Tuesday, a doji. Lots of indecision. You can see how it played out on the the half day, where we had 2 days of down movement. And then today where it bottomed and then tried to peak up a little bit in the afternoon. But again, above the weekly trend line on the 2-day and the half day. So we're watching to see how this is going to continue to run for us. Now let's continue to move through these charts, and we will take a look at our buddy gold. Where are we on gold? Gold's the only one that's down 0.05%. And of course, look at that strong 2-day candle. We pierced the trend line. We've been heading down on both the 2-day and the half-day. Gold rolling over on us. Of course, we had peak volume back on that week, the 27th of November. The next week with the spinning top, red down volume, and then this week really rolling over on the gold, heading down. So again, the only way to short gold is how you can try DGZ. The problem with it is an inverse fund, but it's so illiquid, we don't use it. So for your practice trade, of course, how do you do it? Well, you would buy puts in gold. A great reason to practice trade puts is with gold, because we don't have an inverse fund. Remember, for the S&P 500, we have SH. For the NASDAQ 100, we have PSQ. These are single shorts. For 20-year bonds, we have TBF. But for gold, we have puts. Now, do you know anything about options? We do. We have a great training. At any of our 3 Patreon support levels, the first thing you get, it's automatically sent to you the minute you support us. At any of the 3 levels, you get Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. If you're interested in learning about options, it's a great training. Check it out. Patreon members, we so appreciate your support. Lastly, we'll look at TXBTF, which is the Bitcoin ETF, up 1.25%. You know, we had we had a full day of down movement. Today we have these red down candles, but again, it was up a little bit. These are Heikin-Ashi candlesticks, of course. You can see where we pierced the 2-day trend line with this red down candle on the 2-day chart. You know, we haven't seen a real red down candle. We had a doji there, but a real red down candle all the way back to the 11th of October. Still above the weekly trend line. Look at all that volume. We'll see as things continue to move along. But we've blown off a lot of that energy from last week. That's where we are, folks, on Tuesday as we move into Wednesday. We love hearing from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.